It's coffee break.
Woo!
Here we are.
You remember last week, we were a day late because you felt sick. Now we're a day late because now I'm sick.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Woof.
I'm thinking about changing when coffee break drops. But we'll figure that out as we keep going.
We'll let you know when it's been confirmed.
I had to fight the flu, and now you're fighting the flu.
Yeah, so if I sound stuffy, that's why.
Me too. My entire head is just all clogged up.
It's my eyes. They just ache.
Yep.
Sleeping hurt.
You just gotta sleep through that. Yeah, you look terrible.
I took a NyQuil yesterday, and it did not help me fall asleep.
Nice.
I might take 2 tonight.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to take 2?
Yeah. You're a big girl. You can do it.
I never, because I always took the liquid form. When
That's 2.
Well, because it had different layers for how much you were supposed to take.
Yeah.
And I never paid attention.
Oh, yeah. NyQuil, DayQuil. All fun stuff. Yay.
Woo.
Oh. A full day of rain in the desert. And look at that. We're sick. Maybe it's like, this stuff shouldn't happen here.
There was a point during the day where I took one of the dogs out to go pee. And he didn't even pee. He just immediately, he got wet and then was like, no. And then he just turned around and dragged me back inside.
I got to work this morning because I'm still on my scooter. Scooter's going great.
Yeah.
You're not sheltered from the elements. But hey, I live in a desert, so I didn't think that was going to be a problem. I figured it's sun. And believe it or not, riding in the summer, not a problem.
Yeah, 11 months out of the year, it's usually fine.
But this, I got to work and I was just dripping.
Ugh.
My shoes are still wet.
Ooh, that's the worst.
You saw when I got home, I threw things in the dryer.
Yep.
Yeah, my sweatshirt was just soaking.
It was so wet, it doesn't even count as a sweatshirt anymore. Ugh.
Oh.
It's been gray also.
Yep. So, another thing, last week, we knew the Emmys had happened and we hadn't watched them. We've watched them now. We said we're going to do the Emmys here.
Yes.
And because it's award season and because of the actor strikes and everything, everything's been backed up and compiling. So we also got the Golden Razzie nominations,
Yep.
which we'll go over in this one. And then there was the Oscars that came out today because we're a day late.
Yep.
I had no clue they were coming out today.
I didn't either.
I'm not going to go over the Emmys or the Academy Awards. That will be next week.
Okay.
Just because there's enough time to build up and really try and figure out what's going on there. Because I already see the controversy there, and I think that would be fun. But we don't have enough time to do it. And then that would leave almost nothing for next week.
Yeah. So Emmys, right?
Emmys, yeah.
Yeah, better. Just production quality, way better than the
Yes.
Golden Globes.
Okay, so I liked Anderson.
Yeah, he was great. I already knew he was gonna be. He was.
He was way better than Joe Coy.
I didn't know he was hosting.
Me either. But he didn't yell at the audience and then blame his writing team, which was insane.
Well, it's crazy. He didn't have to because all his jokes and bits were good.
Yeah, and his actual person who yelled at anyone was his mom.
Yeah.
He had his mom in the crowd, and if anyone went over time, she would hold up a sign and go, "Babe, you gotta get down."
Baby, please. That was the best. Was John Oliver being
Trying
like,
to get her.
"I'm not leaving until I get called off by his mom."
Everybody had fun. We got to see a lot of reunions, cheers.
It was weird. It felt like the last season of an important TV show because they did a lot of references to old classic famous sitcoms like I Love Lucy one, Cheers, like you said, Grey's Anatomy, all kinds, you know.
Yeah, American Horror Story. Which confused me because we saw it and I was like, "Oh, The Last of Us," and then they played the X-Files music.
Yeah.
And then Dylan walks out. He's the dad in the first season. And he's talking, and then you see the guy in the gimp suit come out.
Yeah.
Which was just Anthony playing with him.
It was. I remember because you were like, why didn't they get the guy who... Because who was actually in the gimp suit?
No, Peter Evans?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Quicksilver.
Yeah, Peter Evans.
Yes, and he was also nominated, so he was there.
Yeah, and you were like, why didn't they get Peter Evans to do it? And then he took off the mask and revealed it was still Anthony, and you went, oh, that's why.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. It was great. It was a lot more fun. Just overall, much more enjoyable.
You know who was really happy, and I was glad to see him, just as a callback for Frasier.
Yeah. He just loves being there and being with people.
Dr. Kane was there, and he was really happy, and that was really cool to just see him acting again.
Also, everyone in the crowd looked happy.
Yeah.
Everyone looked pretty pleased to be there. Versus the Golden Globes, where everyone looked pissed off or was leaving.
Yeah. How that award show went, though? You're either a fan of Secession, which, again, I talked a lot about, or you're a fan of The Bear, again, I talked a lot about.
Yep.
Did not expect them to go that big. At least Secession, I understood.
Yeah.
The Bear, how is that a comedy?
Yeah, that was the thing. The Bear kept winning, and it won comedy, just like how it did with the Golden Globes. And Barry, once again, was also nominated for comedy. The same old problem.
Did you see Bill Hader got nominated for the worst dressed?
Did he really?
Yeah, and I was like, can you leave him alone?
What do you mean?
He was just there to have fun.
He's there to hang out with his wife, who won like 1 million, or girlfriend, who won like 1 million awards, and to celebrate her.
Yeah, Ali Wong.
Yeah.
Which, Beef was the other big one. Mm-hmm. We also talked about Beef.
Yeah, those are the 3 things that won awards and nothing else.
well, there was a really outstanding award that I couldn't believe actually happened, but I'm really glad she won it. Mm-hmm. And it was for Abbott Elementary, the creator and showrunner and star of Abbott Elementary. Her name eludes me.
It begins with a Q. Quinta Bronson?
Yes.
I'm not so sure if her last name's Bronson.
Pretty sure it's Bronson.
Okay. And
but she won, and you could see she was not prepared for that.
No.
She said it.
Second black woman or black person ever to win this award.
Yes.
I think I just don't care about the awards anymore. Because because I've been keeping up with them for a couple of years now. And the more I think about them, I'm like, I don't think those are really worth anything. Because they never nominate the right people. And they give awards to the wrong people too often.
I was happy that she won.
I was happy she won. But I was like, we should have had more than 2 by this point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's really disappointing. But I was really excited. The fact that, like, I don't think Abbott Elementary's that great. Don't attack. Do not get upset. I love it. It's a great show. I just got into it. I'm excited for the 3rd season.
Compared to every other comedy, because that's what an actual comedy is, not Barry and the Bear. Compared to every other comedy like that's happening right now.
Wow, that's the story of my life. The Barry and the Bear.
Leagues ahead. Leagues ahead. This is going to be the next Office or Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, well, that's what they made it. And it's about underfunded elementary teachers who are in a unique zone where mostly it's predominantly black, but they also have other students there.
Yeah.
But that's the real fun of it, is the underfunding of it.
It's smart.
Yes.
It's creative.
It's funny.
I was like, how can you do an elementary school and have it be continually fun?
One of the best lines in the 2nd season, because there's only 2 seasons right now, is the 5th grade teacher who's the gay white guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes to the house party, and he's like, I got the mixed wine. I guess that's when they take all the good wine and mix it together. That's not what that is.
There's a couple. It's really, the characters are smart. It's so good. It is really good. It deserves the award.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and I was happy with that. And Secession, that was a one-time thing, you know?
Yeah.
We were talking about Breaking Bad this morning. Mm-hmm. It was so weird to think about it and go back and be like, oh, that was a thing, and it was kind of precious at that moment.
And I bet that last season won more awards than it really deserved to in order to make up for all the awards it didn't win beforehand.
I remember I watched the Emmys when I was in college studying film, right? We were told to go watch them just for, like, not even extra credit, just be a part of this.
Yeah.
And so I went home. I was sitting there in my theater room on my throne.
So pretentious.
And I was just watching them. And I knew Breaking Bad just finished. I had been watching it. And I was like, all the awards are going to go to Breaking Bad because it deserves it.
Yep.
And it does. Bryan Cranston
Yep.
was up against Peter Dinklage.
For Game of Thrones, I'm guessing?
Yes, for Best Actor. And Bryan Cranston won it. Right? And Peter Dinklage was so sour.
He's always sour. Like, he's never seems happy.
Yeah, but no, he was really upset.
Damn.
And I was just like... At that time, I didn't even know what Game of Thrones really was. I just knew it was just this pop culture thing that was pissing me off.
He's also won several awards since. And even he, during the the Emmys, he announced something, like one of the final categories, and he just kind of, like, came out, said his line, it was done. Like, no pizzazz. He actively avoided looking at the Iron Throne that they had on the stage. Like, he held up the card so he didn't have to see it.
Yeah.
Like, he had openly did not like his time on Game of Thrones. And he just seems kind of bitter in general.
Which is kind of weird because, I don't know, I'd be like, hey, I was on Game of Thrones. I was like, that's a cool thing, is it not?
It threw him into stardom.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Yeah. So the Emmys were definitely worth watching over the Golden Globes.
100%.
So we're going to get right into coffee break. There's not much to talk about because we're going to do some other things.
Yeah.
I found out recently Mortal Kombat 2.
Mortal Kombat 2?
Yes.
Like the original? Way back in the day?
Do you remember during the pandemic? There was Mortal Kombat, the reboot.
Oh, yeah.
The movie.
Oh.
They just finished the sequel.
What? Really?
There's no release date. There's no synopsis. I've seen the cast. That one guy.
The main character?
Yeah, the one who had the like batons.
Yeah.
That covered his.
Is he?
I didn't see him in those.
People didn't like him because he was an original character.
But I saw the character who played Liu Kang.
Nice.
Is in there.
But he died. Whatever. I'll take more Liu Kang.
No, it wasn't Liu Kang. No, well, there's a lot of them.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I thought it was Shalong.
I might be getting their names mixed up. All I can picture is, no.
The only thing I know is it's done filming.
Yay.
There was some giant rip dude who was like towering over everybody.
Baraka?
Baraka?
Is that going to be Baraka?
I was thinking that was going to be Gordo?
Oh, it's probably Gordo.
And then I also know, and he wasn't in these pictures, but Carl Urban of Lord of the Rings legend.
Uh-huh.
Nobody watches The Boys, but...
And he definitely not Thor Ragnarok.
And let's not forget, who's Dredd? Anyways, I love that Dredd. That I can't believe that never got a sequel.
I bet a lot of people don't know that
Have I shown you Dredd?
I'm not going to watch that. It looks terrible.
It's amazing.
I think I've seen parts of it.
Okay, everyone in the comments, tell Critter she needs to watch Dredd. It is so good.
So he's going to be in it?
Yeah, and he is playing Johnny Cage.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was like, why did you get an older guy to play him?
Interesting choice.
But I was like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
it's
Johnny
Carl
Cage
Urban.
wasn't in the first one, was he?
No.
Damn. Oh, okay.
So that'll be fun. And in fact, all the pictures were just younger characters or younger actors.
Nice.
So I was like, this sounds like we're going to try and make a real long franchise out of this.
Cool. I'm super excited.
Now, talking about resurrecting the dead, dinosaurs.
Woo.
Dino DNA.
Dino DNA.
So the way this was revealed was just that a writer's working on a new Jurassic World script.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's Jurassic World. I think they chose to use world instead of park. Mm-hmm. just because it's more relevant.
To imply it's part of the... we're not, like, reverting back. We're continuing the story, probably.
But not enough is said. Spielberg is attached to produce...
Jurassic Universe. Get bigger.
You know, we all made those jokes when it came out. We were like, well, then what's the third trilogy? Jurassic Universe? Space dinos?
I'm not on the edge of my seat for this.
Well, whatever. It's happening.
I feel like the last three really dropped the ball with it. Which sucked, because the first one, Jurassic World, the first one, it had issues, but overall, very good. And then the second and third ones were just, ugh.
I like the third one more than the second one. I'll just be honest right there. Do not ever say I like the third one. Just know I liked it more than the second one. The second one went a little too far.
It was really, like, why?
The clone thing. Mm-hmm. Which we found out... Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I did. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I also call them clones.
Colognes, yeah.
Okay. So we talked about Echo last week.
Hell yeah.
And Echo was super duper fun.
It was.
A lot of you guys have commented and expressed your opinions, and I totally agree, and we also agree the same way. 5 episodes was not enough. You needed a few more episodes to really expand out that family story. Other than that, it was a pretty solid thing.
It seems like for most things nowadays, the biggest issue is pacing. It's
Yes.
either too fast or too slow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They can't ever figure it out.
And, well, in a weird way, the sequel to Echo, unofficially, is Daredevil Born Again.
Woo!
Where we're starting to get more information. Last time we talked about Daredevil Born Again, the showrunners, well, we found out they're non-existent, and the people in charge got fired.
Yeah, so great start.
Yep. And they already filmed a few episodes. And now they brought in this new team. And this new team apparently seems super dedicated to Daredevil.
That's cool.
Which I love. And the first thing they wanted to make sure is that the Netflix Daredevil is the same Daredevil. Mm-hmm. Therefore, making the Netflix Daredevil canon.
Which is nice.
Then we found out even more. John Benthel will return as the Punisher.
Yeah. Well, he's getting old. I saw a clip of him in, what was that one Will Smith did about playing tennis? Serena Williams' dad.
King
Richard?
Yeah, King Richard.
He's in there. He's like their tennis instructor, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're really getting old, John. But also it was like shot in a way that it might have just been trying to make him look older. You can do that with makeup.
We also saw him briefly in The Many Saints of Newark.
Yes. Oh, and he was also in season 2 of The Bear.
Yes.
To bring back around to that.
He's also in season 1.
Well, but
he's
that was
his brother.
I mentioned season 2 because that one was more recent.
Yeah. The award-winning version of it. Not the better season, though.
I actually think it was season 1 that got nominated because every single clip was from the first season. So I think it was...
No, that was all season 2.
That was weird. Weird that they only showed clips from the first season. It's almost like they knew.
So that was really cool. Vanessa, who was Fisk's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
She's the one who sold him the painting, The Rabbit in the Snow.
Yeah.
She will also be returning.
Cool.
And as of today, just before recording this, it has been leaked that Bullseye is returning as well.
Oh, really?
So this is actually season 4 of Daredevil.
Yeah, Bullseye was so awesome. They barely used him, but what he did was phenomenal. Oh, the prayer beads. The like snow globe off the dude's desk.
I love it when he rolls up to the front gate.
Yeah.
And he's talking to his dead girlfriend. And he's like, what do you think we should do?
So good. I can't wait. Go bring me back to Hell's Kitchen, baby.
Yeah.
This one, not the Gordon Ramsay one. Ugh.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited for Daredevil. But again, it was supposed to come out this year.
Uh-huh.
All that got pushed back.
Yeah, Marvel's been spiraling. It's been bad on their end.
Well, you want to get into Marvel really quick?
Yeah.
So we decided to go back and finish Loki.
Yeah, we did it.
We finished the last 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's way too late now. But I will say this. Some of you were right. It was worth going to finish it because those last 2 episodes were actually pretty good.
They were better. I still didn't like it. Like, if I hadn't have put it as an honorable mention on my top 10 worst list, I would have still put it as an honorable mention as like a number 11 or 12 spot. I put it there because I hadn't finished it yet. So from what I had seen, I wasn't liking it. I still didn't like it. I felt like the whole season overall was kind of unnecessary.
I liked Mobius, sorry.
Yeah.
Mobius and Loki's relationship, they were real friends. Mm-hmm. Unlike everybody else, they were the actual real friends. Mm-hmm. And then when Loki was trying to figure it all out, talking to Kang.
Yeah.
And the things Kang was saying and the way that entire series ended, I was like, you cannot address this.
It could have just been... Yeah, there's no way we can just ignore the Kang plotline. We have to do it.
Yeah, it's too late. There's so much set forward. And the way Loki all ends and everything, the saddest thing to me is thinking about the future.
Yeah.
It's that Thor will inevitably meet his end, and it will be... At least he'll get to see Loki at the end.
Yeah.
Because Loki's there at the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
And that kind of bumps me out, but it's also like, damn. That's the joy and problem with superheroes is, as you love them, you also have to watch them fall.
True. So, I thought it was okay. I wish B-15 got to do more. She was barely in it. Like, if you hadn't have seen the first season, you'd be like, who's this random lady just following them around for no reason? Like, she said, like, 5 lines of dialogue total. And there was a shot in the trailer where she's in, like, a flapper getup, like a 1920s kind of style thing. Yep. And we never see that in the show.
Nope.
And I think the worst one was they made me actively hate Sylvie.
She's the most useless character.
She was a prickly character in season 1, but I understood her, and I empathized with her, and I liked her relationship with Loki. In this second season, she's horrible. She's mean. She's rude. She completely, like, denies doing anything to help Loki. Even if it will save the universe, unless it also helps her.
Yep.
Because she's so selfish, and all she wants to do is work her shitty little job in a McDonald's, and she has this horrible wig that is so ugly.
That's true.
And it completely ruined the character. Even at the very end, when Loki's doing his final, like, big sweeping goodbye, she's like, I care about my timeline and my life, and it's like, ugh, even now you can't be, like, kind in a single instant.
And I thought that was really cool about Loki, that he spent when he was talking to Obi, or Ouroboros, it would take him centuries to understand this science, and then it goes centuries later.
Yeah.
So he was constantly working on it, and finally at the end, he was just like, I'm the only one who can do it.
Our Loki is now infinitely older.
That's not our Loki.
Well, our new Loki is now infinitely wiser and older than
the previous Lokis.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And yeah, when he's getting all torn up from the space thing, and his cape comes out and his horns, and oh man, he looks so cool, and he's grabbing onto the timelines and he's changing them.
And then it was when he sat down and the camera tilts and we see the whole thing, and I out loud went, oh my god, it's a tree!
Yeah, that was cool. He made his the tree of life.
The Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil?
Yeah, Y. It begins with a Y, and then like a G, and then like another G, and then a D. It's really hard. I remember the first time I saw the word, I was playing a Dragon Quest game, and it's an item that helps bring you back to life when your character dies. Okay. And I was just staring at it like, no, I can't pronounce that. There's no vowels.
Why's there vowels?
Sometimes.
All the times.
In the beginning of the word.
In the beginning of the world, they are vowels. Okay, so we're going to go into the question. The question of last week was physical copies or streaming.
Yes.
Now, there was some problems with that, which, again, goes back to Spotify.
Yeah, we're still figuring it out. Ironing out our bumps.
So apparently that question never showed up, even though I wrote it in there and then moved it over to... I copied and pasted the question into YouTube.
But it was on YouTube, right?
Yes.
So there was that one. So.
And we got some comments. We got some response on the post. Thank you to everyone who did that. Mm-hmm. Sorry for those who could not. We're going to work on this again. Mm-hmm. The general census is physical copies over everything else.
Really?
But one person had something interesting to say. Runner-up foes. Okay? They said they wouldn't buy any physical copy unless they're really into something. Mm. And what's interesting about that, just to stop it there, in film school, we had this weird moment where our professor stopped and told us, if you really love something, and that's, the medium that you love it in, mm-hmm. try to have a physical copy. That way you always have it.
Yeah.
And then you can keep going back to it and studying it even more and more. Mm-hmm. Right? Whether this is runner-up's idea about it or not, it's still a way to constantly hold it, right?
Yeah.
You want to have something tangible.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
But then they go on and say, you don't need to move with all this dead weight. Mm-hmm. Which, me, I tend to move a lot.
Yeah.
And, moving a ton of DVDs.
Oh, having to restock the shelf afterwards. Yep. Then you run out of room, so you have to get another shelf.
Yep.
It's, for me... The digital versus physical thing becomes even more interesting because I was thinking about it and I was like, so many old games you can't find anymore. But if there is a digital version, I couldn't find an N64 version of Banjo-Kazooie very easily, but I could play it on my Switch right now.
Yes.
So there's the ease of bringing it to new people to play without having to find an ancient relic that's going to be thousands of dollars. But also... if I did find a physical copy of Banjo-Kazooie, I would 100% buy it. Even though we don't have an N64, I would want it for the sake of having it.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, aesthetically...
But why would you want it?
Because it means so much to me.
Yeah, because it's your favorite game in the world.
But also, aesthetically, especially if it came with the box, the old school boxes looked so cool. Mm-hmm. And just to have that as a visual piece... because of how awesome it looks. Yeah. That's another reason I can understand wanting a physical thing just to be a centerpiece rather than for the actual game itself that you could just download.
Yep. Somewhere in my parents' house, my old room, there is a physical copy of Resident Evil 4 on GameCube.
Yep.
There's a physical copy of Resident Evil 4 on Wii. And there's a copy of Resident Evil 4 on the PS4. I did not buy a physical copy of the remake. Yeah. I did not see a need to. I did, however, when I went out recently, I said this last week, I got Tears of the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Loving it. Not a Zelda game, but all the ADHD in me loves it. Mm-hmm. I love the puzzles. Things are getting really fun. But... I realized this might actually be the last physical copy I've ever bought in my life.
Yeah.
And that's a really bizarre thought.
To play devil's advocate, digital copies are all fun and dandy until suddenly the internet goes out. And then you realize how much you're just stuck in the Stone Age as you desperately stare at the physical copies you have.
If you buy a digital copy, you can download it onto your hardware.
You could. Not for the Switch, though. Not for certain games. Like Animal Crossing. I can't play Animal Crossing if I can't connect to the internet.
But that's because the game requires internet connectivity.
Yes. So if the internet went out, I couldn't, and I wanted to play Animal Crossing, I couldn't.
Yep. Ubisoft, which Zero Two Hero sent me this article. Uh-huh. Ubisoft is talking about how gamers need to be less okay with the idea of having physical copies to having a borrowed copy, a streaming copy.
Yeah.
So instead, they can create a streaming service. This is the new model that we're going to be pushed into. When I asked this question last week, what I asked was basically movies. Mm-hmm. And now, all of a sudden, it's not just movies, it's video games also.
Well, the thing is, I don't like that model because I see it going exactly how streaming services for movies have gone now, where they just hike up the price. And yeah, it's like, oh, but you could play any game you want. Yeah, it's like, but I continually, like, it's only $5 a month, but there's 12 months out of the year. That's $60. I could just buy the game. Yeah. That's $60.
Oh, sorry.
Big yawn.
I know. So there were some other things that showed up. Walmart is rumored to start throwing out Starfield copies.
Yeah.
Apparently no one likes that game. I mean...
And I was like, oh,
no one's buying the physical copies of Starfield.
And I was like, oh, people are going to start dumpster diving to get the physical copies. And
I
was
want one.
Except, who wants a copy of Starfield? Even dumpster diving. It's like, hey, I got my trash out of the trash.
Well, let's remember a story that's very important to video game history. E.T.
What?
You don't know this story?
I know about the game.
Yeah, the game.
I don't know what you're referring to.
So the game was just horrible.
Yes.
And then nobody bought it. It was so bad that they just... Rumor had it that Atari took a ton of copies and just threw it in a landfill and then filled it up. There was a documentary a couple years ago where they went out to go find it and they started digging and they started finding them.
I do remember that, yeah.
So this was a real thing that happened.
Yeah, because they don't deteriorate.
Walmart, I guess, is trying to do the same thing. It's just bury this down.
History is a circle. We're just repeating ourselves.
The only difference is Starfield will still exist because it's going to be constantly added onto. It'll be a game that sticks around just as long as, like, Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
Or, what's that really dog shit Bethesda game?
Overwatch? Overwatch 2?
That's Blizzard. Skyrim. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on the sequel. Any word on that, guys? No? Another lawsuit? Okay.
Another thing that came out of this research, Best Buy is going to stop selling Blu-rays, DVDs, 4K DVDs or Blu-rays, and steel box cases, which are collectibles.
That kind of makes sense.
They're not making enough money on them.
If anyone wants, not only is, like, in-store shopping going down, but everyone just, if you want it, they just buy it on Amazon.
Yep.
That's where the best prices are.
And apparently Amazon's going to be the one who just kind of holds on to that. Walmart will be for a little bit. Target as well. If you don't have those where you're at, I'm sorry.
There's Amazon.
Yeah, you still have Amazon. Amazon's all over the world.
That's another thing. Best Buys are, like, harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
And, like, the last time we were in one, it was, like, last New Year, I think. Like a year ago. Maybe for Valentine's Day or something. I remember we were celebrating something. We went in and it was a ghost town. There was nobody.
Yep.
It was just empty shelves. Or empty aisles with shelves full of stuff. Untouched.
Yeah. A lot of like dishwashers and washing machines in there.
Yeah, like they've really moved on to just appliances in general.
You can also buy electric scooters there.
Yeah, and since they're clearly expanding, it makes sense to not bother having these shelves and shelves and shelves of like random movies from the 80s no one wants to buy.
I feel like they're now becoming the Sears version of what was it called? Radio Shack?
Wow, that is accurate. Oh, it's like when you do a bad thing to your Digimon and it does a bad evolution. Yeah. This is the downgrade for Best Buy.
I was also reading about this game shop in the UK called Game.
Cool.
And they're going to stop selling used copies.
Wow. I guess because
no one's buying physical copies. And if you are, you're not giving them up because, like, I have a physical copy of Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
For the PS5.
Because it's so
I'm
good.
not giving that up.
It's so damn good.
that will find its place into an IKEA glass container that will be shelved somewhere in my office, you know?
And, like, my history with buying used copies was you would come home, you would put the disc in, and it said, scratched, cannot read.
Yep.
And so it was always a bust. So there's no point. The only reason people give up used copies is because they're too damaged to play them anymore. 9 times out of 10. So yeah, makes sense. I bet they're losing money on that deal.
So yeah, it's interesting that a lot of us still want to buy physical copies, but soon we're about to be taken away from that.
Yeah.
We're watching a show called Foundation.
Yes.
We'll get into Foundation soon. But one of the most interesting things was in the second season, this character comes across a bookshelf and is going through the books and says, I can't believe I've never seen an actual book before.
Yeah. He could read.
He can read.
But there just weren't books. It was all, like, digital. It was, the way they do it. It's, like, sand related in universe. But that's what it means.
And I looked at you and I was like, we're one step closer to that than we think. That soon, your kids or your grandkids or whoever, the next generation, they're not going to have physical copies of these things. Yeah. We're going to sound old.
Well, another thing to not have physical copies, like the Switch. I was talking about this. The Switch boxes, huge, and you get this tiny little game inside of it. Yep. It is such a waste of plastic. And you don't even get, like, cool manuals anymore. That was always one of the biggest selling points to getting a physical copy, was that you would get the manual. And you'd get unique, cool artwork in there.
Well, the manuals are built into the game.
Well, sometimes they'd give you, like, hints and stuff. But now, yeah, they're built into the game, but it's just a wall of boring text. Yeah. You don't get hints or cheats, artwork and stuff.
Yep. So, thank you for everyone answering the question. Sorry for those who couldn't. Again, we're going to work on that. And then I don't know. I feel like some physical things need to be kept around.
Yes. What's the next question?
What's the next question? We're going to get there. Okay. Okay, it's time for Box Office Trolls.
Box Office Trolls. Woo!
Let's go straight to it. Okay, Mean Girls at number 1 again.
Still? Wow. Pretty poor reception I'm seeing. But, like, also nothing else is coming out.
Number 2, The Beekeeper. Whatever. Number 3, Wonka.
Going down quickly. It has been 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Everyone stopped talking about that one.
Number 4, Migration.
Okay.
Number 5, Anyone But You.
Okay.
Number 6, Aquaman 2.
Good for Electric Boogaloo.
Number 7, ISS.
Wait, Bleecker Street Media. Haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's a new one.
In School Suspension?
Maybe. Man, horrible times.
Yeah, once.
Once?
I didn't pass my English test. Because I, like, goofed up and I forgot to turn in one of my assignments. And, like, it was obvious I didn't need to be there. It was just a formality thing. It was so dumb.
I got in trouble so much in high school that they're like, you can't have out-of-school suspension anymore. So they forced me to stay in the library for a whole day. And I was like, I won't do this ever again.
We were very different students.
I never did it again. That was my last time. But I was like, this is horrible. I'd rather be home doing nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Out of school suspension is like a reward because you don't have to bother with school. When you're in school, you still have to do something. You're just stuck there.
Well, I used to play my guitar a lot. Mm-hmm. And that was my big thing. And my dad took it away from me as punishment, right? Yeah. But no one's home. So I just found my way back to my guitar.
Yeah.
Number 8, Night Swim. Number 9, The Boys in the Boat. And number 10, Poor Things.
All right.
There we go. So, we watched a lot of shows besides Loki.
Yes. Sorry.
Wow, look at that spike.
I did my best, I'm sorry.
Season 2 of Reacher on Amazon finished. Mm-hmm. Jack Reacher.
We've been singing its praises.
And I can say it's still a good season, but the last episode, everything just falls.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. It was too, like, there wasn't any of that quick-witted planning and execution. It just kind of, and then we saved the day.
Yeah. And that was kind of annoying.
It was. Like, usually it's smarter than that.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if it was something was rushed, or, like, budget-wise or filming-wise.
I think they were just trying to go for that feel-good ending.
I don't know. I wonder how it works in the end of the book. I wonder if the book's any different.
It was pretty similar.
Okay.
I went through and read it.
Yeah?
But just the synopsis, not the book.
Uh-huh.
I haven't had time to read the book. They said the third season, which is already on its way.
Ooh.
They already chose the book.
Nice.
They did not tell us what the book is.
Damn.
But they did say that their focus is on Jack being by himself instead of having a team. In the first season, he kind of formed a team.
Yeah.
In this season, he had his team. This time, it'll be him on his own.
Nice.
Which I was like, sweet, because that sounds more like Book 7 one-shot, which Tom Cruise did.
Yeah.
Where he was kind of on his own.
Kinda.
And
he kinda made some friends.
Yeah.
As he does.
And that's fine. It's just, this will be more interesting to see the brute force character of Jack.
When he doesn't have others to rely on.
Yep.
What kind of ruthless endeavors or quick-witted tactics will he incorporate in order to succeed in saving the day?
He'll probably be as ruthless as ever.
Yeah, remember him snapping the body to fit in the trunk? We're gonna get more of that.
Do you remember what he did with the spackle that you spread cement with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe the guy kept going. I would have just laid down and be like, I'm sorry.
So, because I was sick, Friday was horrible. I shouldn't have gone to work. Saturday, just recuperating.
Yep.
Sat on the couch all day with you.
Yeah.
And turned on Apple TV. And I was like, it's time. We're going to watch this. Foundation.
Which you might be like, why does that sound familiar? It's that thing you've seen that's like a space fantasy type deal. Lee Pace is in it. That's the one thing you'll remember, is Lee Pace is in it.
Okay, this is... We finished it. It's 20 hours long.
Yeah, with 2 seasons.
Each 10 hours long.
Uh-huh.
What the ads aren't telling you, there's so much more going on in this thing.
It's so complex. We're jumping through time.
Yep. Math.
There's oh my god, there's so much math. Math is like a religion. Math is God in this world. It's very complex. The characters and their relationships are complex. The science is complex.
When we started it up, I will say this. The first episode and the second episode don't do it for you.
They're so bad.
You're going to be like 2 hours and I'm like, why are we still here?
They're slow. They're boring.
If you get past that, you will find what it actually is.
Yes.
And Empire... which has become my favorite, but I just love empires. Yeah. As everyone knows.
That's the character's name in Foundation.
It's 3 different characters.
Yes.
But there is the child version, the prime version, and the elder version.
Yeah. Of the same... They're all clones of the same person, and they're like the ruling dynasty of the majority of this solar system that they're in.
Yes. Which is actually the Milky Way.
And that's Lee Pace's character. Day is his name.
Yeah, so they're all clones of Cleon.
Yeah.
But the younger one is called Dawn because he's young. Day is the prime.
Yep.
And Dusk is the older one.
And you'll get to the point, if you go through the whole thing, you'll get to the point where you're sitting there asking yourself, is this the same Day as Day, or is this Dawn as Day now? Or is Dawn now Dusk? Because we're jumping hundreds of years through time, and they keep just repurposing the clones over and over again.
Yep.
And so we also have cryopods, so some characters just go to sleep for several years.
Yep.
So it explains why we have our main cast across several centuries. But it is confusing if you're not paying attention.
I would say it's definitely a high fantasy.
Yes. It is much closer to Game of Thrones than Star Trek, which is what it tries to sell itself as.
Yeah, it's not Star Trek. It's Star Wars Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
which is kind of weird. Definitely a lot of the opera, and definitely a lot of like politics.
So much politics. There's like 7 different plot lines that we're following. Characters.
There's only 3 characters from the first season that actually come back as the same characters in the second season.
Yeah.
All those other characters that you spend time with are almost meaningless.
Yeah, so even though like there's still Day, the clone called Day, in the first season and in the second season. But because they're are
2 different days,
they act differently from each other.
Yep, they have different thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
I liked it too.
It's just a little convoluted for the average person.
Yes, it might be a little too confusing.
What was crazy to me is looking up the budget of season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1, its budget cost $69 million.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a sexy number. Times a million.
The first season of She-Hulk, and the only season of She-Hulk, let's be honest,
Yeah.
cost over $200 million.
And
Foundation looks superior to it.
I don't know how She-Hulk was so expensive.
I don't think they understood what they were doing.
The CG looks so bad for how expensive it was. Use some practical effects, guys.
Yeah.
That's probably where Foundation saved a lot of money. That's actually him doing these things.
So, with Foundation, what I'm saying is if you haven't checked it out and you're into these space operas or sci-fi stories or high fantasy, you got to go check this one out. This one is actually there. It is legitimate. You can watch it and understand it.
Like most everything on Apple Plus, they don't market it. If they do, they don't market it well, but it's the best thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, you'll actually have a lot of fun. Next up, Percy Jackson. We didn't talk about it last week, so we caught up.
Yeah.
I know currently there's a new episode. There's only 8 episodes of this first season, and where we ended off with episode 6, guys, we gotta hurry up. We're running out of time.
I'm starting to worry that the end of the season will be finishing up in Hades, in Hell with Hades, in Tartarus with with Hades.
Okay, there we go.
And we'll only see a glimpse of Zeus, if anything. And
Yeah.
I'm just waiting around because I want to see Zeus.
Yeah, Percy, it's not that good.
No.
Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
Yeah, not worth waiting for.
Well, I mentioned this to you before, not on the podcast, but we saw, Hephaestus? Is that his name?
Yes.
We saw Hephaestus, and apparently he doesn't show up until the 4th book or something. And I found out today Hermes doesn't show up until the 2nd book. So they're just throwing the gods in early, probably because they didn't think people were going to be sticking around for several seasons.
So what is the real story of Percy?
Apparently it's very different. Apparently the whole, it wraps up with Percy doing a lot to basically force the gods into caring about their children more.
Yeah, I figured that's where we would go.
Which makes sense based on how it was set up, but also we were seeing all the gods like, oh, but I love my daughter. Oh, but I love my son. So it kind of goes against the idea of what Percy's supposed to be fighting for.
And then you had an interesting observation about Percy and women.
Yeah.
And he runs into his cousin, Ares.
Yeah.
The god of war, or so he claims. I know one god of war. And Ares doesn't actually bother him much.
No, he sets up an obstacle, and it's not like he's kind. Like, he's a little rude and smarmy, but he helps them in the end.
But doesn't actually attack them or anything.
And then Saint Hermes, he doesn't help them, but he's very nice.
Doesn't attack.
He doesn't attack, but every female character has been a monster and attacked them.
Yeah, so it's like, what is happening here? It's a weird observation to have, but also now I'm looking at it like, it's kind of messed up, isn't it?
It's because I was intrigued by the bad guys. I was like, oh, we're doing a villain of the day type deal, cool. And I was thinking about what other kind of villains they might face like in the mythos of Greek mythology and stuff. And I was thinking about what they had already faced, and I was like, wait, all of them are girls. And then I'm like, and those bullies in the beginning were girls. Oh, and that bully at camp was a girl. And I was like, wait a minute.
This might be a story tailored towards boys.
It makes sense if it's tailored towards boys, but usually they don't only because usually it's like there's some sort of dude character to be a rival for you to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
Or like to prove you're a man against.
Yeah.
It's weird.
The natural competition between male.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to even finish this right. If we can even find a nice subtle landing.
Yeah. Or
is this going to be just a complete shit show? Mm-hmm. I don't know. We watched a indie film from 2022, called White Noise.
Yeah.
Which was written by God, what is her name?
Greta Gerwig?
Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Starring Kylo Ren.
Adam Driver. And Don Cheadle's in it.
Yep.
I love Don.
It's an indie film.
Yes.
It's on Netflix. And we were just like, okay, let's go back and see what's going on.
Yeah.
To me, it's a little too artsy.
Yes. It was good, but it really lost its focus.
I can't recommend it to a person who just wants to casually view something.
Yeah. There's a point with a cloud of toxic smoke.
Yes.
And you think that's going to be, like, the main part of the movie.
It's not.
It's not. And it's weird, because we could have kept lingering effects of that, because the overall theme of the movie is fear of death, or accepting death.
Yep.
And I get the idea that the toxic cloud is, like, symbolic of death, always hovering over you, that you can't avoid. If it had, like, stuck around throughout the rest of the movie, I think it would have been better. But after, like, the halfway point, it goes away and they never talk about it again. Yeah. And then we dive into this completely different direction.
About extramarital affairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Which got weird. There is a great quote in there. Some millipedes have eyes, some don't.
Yeah, that was a good quote. It was very good. It was entertaining.
It was.
I do recommend it. You might not love how it ends, though. Like, not that it's a bad ending, just that it feels like it just kind of ends.
Yeah, and then they just dance.
Yeah.
For, like, way too long. So, there we go. The Golden Razzie nominations also came out. We will go over these really quickly. Unbelievable, yet I am a believer of this. Huh. The Exorcist Believer was nominated for Worst Picture.
What?
Expendables.
Nice.
Meg 2, The Trench.
Expendables and Meg 2 came out. Wow. Yep. I thought those were older.
Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and critics and audience alike. Mm-hmm. And Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Wow.
I love this. Peyton Reed from Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumanium got nominated for Worst Director.
Wow, it was bad.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Worst Actor, Russell Crowe, Vin Diesel, Chris Evans, Jason Statham, and Jon Voight.
Wow. What did Chris Evans... Oh, Ghosted. Yeah, that kind of just was a whole lot of nothing, wasn't it?
That's also, I think, an Apple Plus thing.
Is it?
But remember, we watched that Marky Mark movie, The Family Plan.
I thought it was Netflix. Oh, The Family Plan was also bad.
And yeah, that was a terrible movie.
It was so lame.
Worst Actress, Ana de Armas.
Also Ghosted.
Yep. Megan Fox, Selma Hayek, Jennifer Lopez, and Helen Mirren.
Yeah, a lot of them is... Oh, man, Helen Mirren.
Mirren, my bad.
Shazam. Yeah. God. It sucks seeing good actors and actresses stuck doing ass roles in terrible movies.
Worst Supporting Actor, Michael Douglas for Ant-Man. Mel Gibson for Confidential Informant. I don't know what that is.
Nah.
Bill Murray for Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah, he was in it. What a waste of Bill Murray.
Franco Nero, for the Pope and the Pope's Exorcist, and Sylvester Stallone in Expendables.
It's crazy how many, like, big names are on these lists.
Yep.
I remember, like, the dude who played Sokka for Avatar: The Last Airbender won Worst Actor for the Razzies. And it's like, well, yeah, he's a nobody. Of course he won. Now it's like,
well,
Stallone?
hold on. I can tell you even now. When did that come out? What, 2010?
Something like that.
And it's 2024, and I could still tell you, he did not capture the fucking essence of that character.
No.
Sokka is fun.
God.
Like, if you were to ever do a live action of Korra, and you got someone like that to play Bolin, I'm losing my fucking shit.
Didn't he go on to do someone in Twilight?
Sure, why not?
I think so.
Is that not where everyone else died?
That, like, I was thinking about his buggy eyes and, like, a big pouty mouth. And I'm like, I think he was one of them in Twilight. One of the weird brothers or whatever.
Maybe. Worst supporting actress, Kim Cattrall from About My Father.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Megan Fox again for Expendables. Bai Ling.
For Johnny and Clyde, which I don't know what that
Lucy
is.
Liu for Shazam. And Mary Stuart Masterson for Five Nights at Freddy's.
What? You assholes!
That's the only Five Nights at Freddy's nom.
But it was good.
Worst screen combo. I love this. Any two merciless mercenaries, Expendables.
Nice.
Any two money-grubbing investors who donate to the $400 million remake rights to The Exorcist. Ana de Armas and Chris Evans for Ghosted.
Yep.
Selma Hayek and Channing Tatum for Magic Mike's Last Dance. And Pooh and Piglet, sorry. God. I know. Tigger's gonna be in the sequel.
Ah, man, they're gonna ruin Tigger. He's so... Ah, man, I love him.
Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, Ant-Man 3.
Yep.
The Exorcist Belieber.
Yep.
Expendables. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yes.
And Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey. Don't give it to Indy. Indy was actually not as bad as 4.
It does deserve the nomination, but...
Worst screenplay, Exorcist Believer.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the same ones.
Expendables. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Shazam, Fury of Gods.
Yep.
And Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
So there are your golden Razzies.
I'm excited to find out who wins.
that will be fun. And then finally we have Pokemon news.
Yeah, but is it? Why, look out! It's the world of plagiarism.
Oh, here we go.
So Pal World has been the big buzz lately. Do you know what it is, like gameplay wise?
All I've seen is you capture Mons, you chuck them at other Mons, and then you pick up an assault rifle and start shooting them.
Yeah. People keep saying it's like Ark Survival more than anything else.
Okay.
I haven't played Ark Survival, so I have to take their word for it. But it definitely isn't like Pokemon. People got upset because
You mean the death threats?
Yeah, there's been a lot of... On both sides. People got upset because it looks like they're just copying Pokemon designs. And I'm like... Of course they are. No one cares about the pals in this game. Like, that's not the selling point. The shooting people is the selling point. The actual designs of the monsters, like, they went with generic ideas.
Oh, really? Really generic ones?
Because was the point of the game.
That look exactly like Lucario?
Some of them, like, they lined up the models with, like, the polygons for... the same model for, like, one of the Pokemon, and then one of these pals that look similar, and they do look almost one-to-one. But others, I'm like, I don't know, that's a stretch. Clearly it was inspired by Lucario.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, but...
It does have, like, a weird, like, hairline or cape behind it, but it still has the pointy ears, and there's a jackal standing on its hind legs.
Yeah, it has stripes in it, but this one's yellow.
Well, if I really had to argue anything... Lucario's design is actually a ripoff of The Mummy Returns because the Anubis Warriors.
Also,
which were jackals.
It's just like generic monster stuff. I do think like the world of plagiarism is bad. I don't think this is plagiarism. I think it's obvious inspiration. Like it's this Pokemon kind of looks like a big fat Pikachu because we want you to know this is we're taking ideas of Pokemon and throwing it into our shooter game.
So I saw that one. That one's the most predominantly shown one.
Well, yeah, because it's big.
But it's actually not a ripoff of Pikachu or Raichu.
What is it?
Electabuzz.
Oh.
And I was like, now I see the similarities.
See, that's the thing. If you have to tell me what it's a ripoff of, is it really a ripoff of?
Well, IGN has been covering this as well. Mm-hmm. And they have a nice little Photoshop picture of the one with the horns that looks like Korban.
Korban.
One of the swords of justice.
Oh, what is Keldeo? No?
No.
Cobalion.
Yes. Sorry, my bad.
Some of them are gonna look like whatever. I'm not too. I think people really blew this out of proportion.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be sending death threats to anyone over this.
Yeah.
And Pokemon is still Pokemon. Don't worry. Calm down.
Like, there's been a million games that have, like, animal catching mechanics. Ni no Kuni, Digimon, Yokai Watch, Monster Hunter Stories, Cassette Beasts.
Let's not forget the biggest ripoff, Persona.
I mean, yeah, you catch your monster dudes. I'm playing Ooblets right now. They're catching little monster dudes to be your buddies. Is nothing new.
Nope.
This is doing nothing different either.
And Pokemon's based on Tamagotchi.
Yeah, and that too. Like,
yeah, so
some of the monsters are obviously based off of Pokemon. Oh well. Yeah. Well, there's so many. Like, people call Pokemon, like official Pokemon clones at this point. At this point, any kind of monster thing you make gets called a Pokemon clone. Doesn't matter how much it looks like a Pokemon or not. So why bother?
At that point, you have to realize it's just part of the zeitgeist.
Exactly.
And now, like, you're never going to see a yellow object with orange cheeks the same.
Yeah.
You're going to be always going like, that's Pikachu.
And some people are pointing to, like, the bird monsters in Pal World.
Well, birds aren't real.
And, yeah. And they're like, look, it looks just like enter Pokemon name here. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a bird. And all bird Pokemon are just birds. Yeah. Like, all the birds are always boring. In all those things I listed, the birds are just a bird. What are you supposed to do to jazz it up?
I don't know. Yeah, it really bummed me out that, I love that it sold so many copies within its first weekend.
Yeah.
But it bums me out that people are getting really aggressive about this. And it's like, just knock it off.
People did get, like, and I understand, like, the fighting plagiarism thing, totally. But I don't think it was plagiarism.
No.
Also, like learning animation, like, taking models and adjusting them is something indie people do all the time.
Yeah.
For a ton of things. Like, not everyone has the resources to make their own stuff. Do I think and people are throwing in, like, stuff about the developers, and apparently they're, like, into AI and NFTs, and I don't agree with those things. But every developer for everything does bad stuff.
Yes.
If we played that, like, card every single video game ever.
What happened to that one Pokemon clone from a few years ago?
Temtems?
Temtems.
Yeah, that's another one.
What happened to that?
Well, you all sat there and bitched about it being too much like Pokemon. So
it's nowhere.
It vanished.
Yeah. Pokemon's still going strong. It's fun. We'll find out what they decide to do. Yeah. Soon we'll get information of what Game Freak is going to do with it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think the most telling thing, Game Freak and Nintendo didn't do anything about Pal World when it came out.
Nope.
Not a single peep.
Yeah, and Nintendo's known to attack people.
And then someone went in and made a mod for it where they replaced the Pals with actual Pokemon, and Nintendo immediately got rid of it.
Yep.
So yeah, they do care about protecting their property, and they obviously don't think Pal World is infringing on their property.
Yeah, it's also really messed up. Don't cross the two.
Yeah.
When you're supposed to be playing one game, you know? Like, I think it's really funny that Mr. X, in a mod for Resident Evil 2, can also be Thomas the Train.
with the theme song playing.
Yes, like, that's funny. That's just all around funny. And you know that's an adult who grew up watching Thomas the Train and just thought this would be really funny. But that's not like as malicious as someone sending death threats to someone for potentially copying. You know?
Yeah.
I
think people are looking for something that isn't even there, because some of these are a huge stretch, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, do we have the question?
I don't know. What is the question?
The question is, do we think Pal World is basically a Pokemon copy?
Yeah.
Should there be some sort of lawsuit for...
Is it infringing on... Is it dipping into the world of plagiarism?
Yes. Because plagiarism is now a big problem. I mean, that one president, what was it, Yale or Harvard? They just got kicked out because the board found out that they were plagiarizing.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is like a pristine American college. And this has made news. So and
we had that whole big H-Bomber guy documentary about the importance of like how plagiarism is bad and like citing your sources and stuff like that.
Yep.
Do you think Pal World dips into the realm of plagiarism?
There you go.
Personally, I don't think so. Maybe, but you know what? It is still a developing thing.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I've seen people claiming that they used AI. That is, that's a false report. They've confirmed that they don't use AI.
What is this AI? I don't even want to do this.
I'll explain to you later. It's because it steals jobs away from artists.
Yeah, I know that. It's just everywhere. It's just like, well, you obviously used AI to write this script. And it's like, why couldn't they just be a bad scripty?
Well, I guess that's an insult at that point. You write like AI.
You write like you have no soul, okay? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, we're getting sick.
Classy.
Sorry for coughing.
Sorry I sneezed earlier.
Yeah. That's Coffee Break. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, answering the questions.
Yep.
We'll be back next week. And next week we'll go over the Academy Award nominations.
Yeah.
I'm very aware that there's some discrepancies in there. Some people are very upset.
Yep.
Would you say you're not going to watch the fucking Emmys this year?
The Oscars?
Oscars, whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't want to.
I was like, okay. You know we're going to, right?
I know I will, but I don't want to. I'll be playing Ooblets at the same time.
There you go. Okay. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys have a good week.
Bye-bye.